extend IP exclusivity. An MTVA doses first patient in the 48 milligram MAD cohort.
Good morning. Sorry, guys. Just had to make a little espresso. Gold names really got their asses kicked yesterday, huh? Gold and silver. Oh, my Kathy Wood shirt. I have it hanging around here somewhere. Kathy. I was wearing it last week on Monday. I actually like how ARC is shaping up too. Nice little high type flag. Shaping up again. Bitcoin looking pretty damn good this morning too. Like it's almost ready to break out. No, I didn't get Inno data yesterday. I got toast instead and got stopped out. I saw this action in Inno data. Kind of nasty. But, you know, in this market, you'll get these moves, you'll get the shakeout, and sometimes they come right back the next day, which, you know, makes them difficult. But MSTU. I mean, you know, personally, I don't know that I'll play MSTU. I would rather play BitX. Right? It's plenty liquid and it moves, you know, a bit faster than IBIT. I don't know. I don't know that I would play, you know, you're just dealing with Michael Saylor and diluting every time. He just dilutes all the damn time, offering after offering after offering after offering. It's just, you know, it's exhausting. And then I would ask the question, why would you buy something that he's selling? Why wouldn't you just buy the thing that he's buying?
On MBRX expands phase 3.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you just buy the thing he's buying? He's willing to sell his child so he can buy more Bitcoin. You know, so why wouldn't you just do that? I mean, seems like the more logical train of thought. PTC too late to enter? No, this move hasn't even started, brother. This stock just got above its 200-day moving average. The biggest moves in the stock market don't occur below, they occur above. AppLovin's lagging a little bit recently. I don't know that I like it. You know, ideally, we can clear this little shelf. You know, not till over 360. Then it would look better. Yeah, MSTR to me, it's a little bit confusing. Yes, it probably goes higher if Bitcoin breaks out, but you know, why would you want to own it? Doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what the miss for me was yesterday? Boy, and I knew it too. So the day before, I noticed SKBL 2 days ago on Monday, and then I knew to keep my eyes on PHH yesterday. I knew it, and I just didn't. And look at this is OST again. Oh my God. Could have made the year with this one. Could have made the year. Could you imagine a little 10,000 shares in here? Oh my goodness. GH, man, this thing has been choppy for a while. No, I don't know that it had a quote unquote valid, it had a valid entry yesterday. If you want to buy something out of what you thought was a little bull flag in a breakover prior day high, sure. But I mean, it's just been chopping around sideways here for a while. It's kind of annoying. There were no shares available for the PHH short. There's a few more that kind of have that look that do have shares available. NNNN. Oh, this is one of them. This kind of reminds me. It reminds me just of the other one, honestly, just like the other one of PHH. Anyway, yeah, Fortinet, a little bit of a laggard to its group as well, because its group's acting a whole. You know, I mean, this thing is right near highs, so I won't be too surprised if this thing does eventually go higher. They normally show up on my they show up on like my relative strength scan, believe it or not, because they've been holding up so well. But then I realized like they got a small float. They're from Hong Kong or China, you know, and I realized they're just being gamed. CYBR. Yeah. Yeah. CrowdStrike probably CrowdStrike is your leader. This one hurts a little bit. I own this thing at $400. Man, kind of F this one up, to be honest with you. CrowdStrike, PanW had a nice day yesterday. This thing looks like it's going for an all-time high too, but this one shook me out. Yeah, Rubric. I mean, again, this thing gave a shakeout candle yesterday. If we can get going over yesterday's highs, I would, you know, be a buyer on this thing. Really even doing a decent job holding the 50 simple moving average yesterday. No, I have a RS scan built with Thinkorswim. Yeah, CRDO looks nice. CRDO really looks great. A little extended though. This thing is, let me tell you right now. CRDO is still almost 8 times its average true range from the 50. It's just still too extended. What's the reason for toast over Innodata? Well, one was hitting a, whoops. One was hitting a 52-week high. The other one's still in the middle of its range. One has legitimate earnings and sales and is a company that I use all the time because I go to a lot of restaurants and they use Toast. I've never seen Inno data in the real world. So if you just gunned ahead and you have to pick one, I'm going with the one that I'm more familiar with it. So like that's the one that go with the one that you know. But all things considered equal, you'd have taken a loss on both of them, so it makes no difference. All right, you still would have been red. Rigetti building a massive base. Yeah, I mean, it might be better when we can go ahead and clear this flat pivot. Flat pivots for the win. A-Lab's lagging. SMCI looks better to me. Yeah, I mean, it's got to get going. Probably could get going today, but I don't know. It's got some work to do. The biggest red bars or the biggest volume bars are all down days. So there's definitely some distribution taking place here. The best semiconductors are up a little bit more. But I mean, it's fine. Yeah, this whole IONQ thing, I don't know that I love their businesses. IBM's been working on quantum since the 80s. So if you want a quantum name, IBM. But it's like these things are just controlled by options, and everybody keeps saying they're not real companies, so people short them and then they get squeezed out. I mean, it just is what it is. Ethereum, ETHA. It's a nice little flag here too. We'll see if it can establish itself above the 200, which it's trying to do that now. Isaac, good morning. Yeah, SMCI, I saw that little down move this morning. We'll see. Downgrades don't really bother me because oftentimes, they'll get downgrades so that, the shares can get scooped up a little cheaper. Silver is still weak this morning. Silver looks like it's trying to go lower, in my opinion. I have no idea. We'll see. We shall see. Did not like the action in the gold miners yesterday one bit. Yeah, I don't like the whole idea of something's got to play catch up. If you're buying the thing that needs to play catch up, it means you're intentionally buying something that's lagging. I don't really like owning laggards. If something's got to play catch up, that means what? Bitcoin's going to stop going up. And if Bitcoin stops going up, or is Ethereum just supposed to go up more for the time being? I don't know. Yeah, Twilio's been hanging in there. Yep. CoreWeave gap up on news. What's the news? Announces it is the first cloud platform to make NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell Server Edition instances generally available. Didn't they already have some news like this, like last week or something? Yeah, SMCI looks better. Starting to hang in there. It's being accumulated really nicely. Chef gave a real headache yesterday. Yeah, I mean this is shitty action. Wide and loose after that. Big up day, big down day, wide and loose. Not really what you want to see. Who's my favorite market wizard? Well, as soon as Christian Kulamagi's in the book, it'll be him. um, my favorite market wizard. I mean, there's a handful of people that I really like. Ed Secota's really good. I don't know. I like Jason Shapiro's section too. Just totally different way of trading though, right? I like Lance. Lance is a friend, so Lance's section is going to be cool. Well, I actually sent over my information to George Coyle, so he's the co-author. And the only thing I don't have is 10 years of experience, which is what they wanted. The returns are great over the first 5.5 years of my career. I just don't have the longevity. So when George Coyle writes the second book, then maybe I'll be included in that one. We'll see. Crude oil down just a touch this morning. Nvidia fresh high. Microsoft over 500. I know, dude. I cannot believe I missed PHH yesterday, dude. Oh, I knew it too. I knew to focus on this thing after what was it? SKLB or SL? What the hell was it? I just showed it. Spacing out. It was SBLK, I think. SKBL. Moron. SKBL. I knew to focus on this thing after. At first, I saw SKBL on Monday, and then I was like, okay, these things are kind of like one by one falling off a cliff. So, I am watching all the stocks in the China/Hong Kong sector that, have been pushed up, something like NNNN. Something tells me this is going to do the exact same thing here pretty soon. Here's the thing. You got to be very careful, dude. You got to be careful. No, not really. No, because when I get into something like that, I've got a clear stop level every single time. Right? I'm not too worried about getting caught in something like this. What the hell? How do I know they're ready to dump? You really don't. Level 2. And same thing with you, Racer. They don't work if they halt up. They don't just randomly halt up, though. They don't just randomly halt up. if you don't know how to read level 2 or focus on level 2, then you probably shouldn't be trading them. If you're unfamiliar with level 2, things don't just randomly halt up and then gap up. For anybody who thinks they're dangerous, if you don't know how to look at level 2, then you shouldn't be trading them. Seems logical enough. And also, you shouldn't be in there with more than you're willing to lose. You shouldn't be in there with more size than you can possibly get out of. If you don't know how to read level 2, you don't. There's no book that teaches it. You just need to learn to look at level 2 and understand what's going on. So yeah, I like ANET. ANET looks pretty dang good. I like that it was at the highs of this move yesterday. I think this is doing a nice job establishing itself above the 200. A very nice company and data center related as well. So yeah, ANET's on my watch. It's on my watch list. Could I run through my most textbook trade that I've ever taken? Yeah, NVIDIA, $500 base breakout. Made $2 million right here. 5 months of sideways digestion, right? A big move up. This is actually where I first bought NVIDIA, way down here. But yeah, right here, $500 base breakout. And I bought it twice. I bought it in the 400s and change right here, and I bought the $500 base breakout. And I didn't get any sells off until I think this day here, 223, and then this day here, I exited the rest on the bearish engulfing. And that was it. Very textbook 5-month base breakout. And then you've got, very simple stuff like ARC, right? You've got this nice little move up. You got a little shakeout before the breakout day, and you just buy the little breakout on a big pickup in volume, right? And now it's doing something very similar once again. So who knows? It also just depends, right? Like what kind of setup are you trading, right? It's like when I just recently took a CCL, right? This is just a high volume close setup on this day on 626. And then just straight up every single day from there. Allows you to trim into the strength, and now you just trail. Yeah, MU looks pretty good. I liked the action in MU yesterday, and semis are obviously acting really well too. Yeah, no, I just look at level 2. I don't use Bookmap. If you're not familiar with level 2, like for instance, on Thinkorswim, you'll see it right here. This is, level 2. You got your bid, you got your ask, and you can see how many people are on the bid or on the ask. Your bid side, your ask side. How much people are willing to pay for something, how much people want for something. Right? And they have to meet in the happy middle somewhere. And I use, Dash Trader for my level 2. It'll come with your broker if you have Center Point, or if not, you have to pay $200 a month to Dash Trader. Yeah, those were absolutely awesome. NVIDIA and SMCI were great. High volume close setup, it's exactly what it sounds like. So for instance, on something like Sezzle, you'll get this gap up on earnings, right? So you see how like this is just trading, a million shares a day, right? On this run up. Then all of a sudden on a gap up on earnings, this trades 6 million shares that day. So you're basically just marking the close, and then you're looking to buy it above that close is good, and below that close is no good. And so you get an entry on day 2, you'd get nice follow through and a push, and then it's off to the races. Right? Dave gave us a very similar setup. It depends after how big of a run up. Right? I mean, this thing hasn't really done anything wrong. And if I were just in hood, I would just be trailing it on the 10 and the 20. How many break-even trades do I have? That's probably like half of my trades. Get used to, as a swing trader, you have to get used to being wrong like 70% of the time. You got to get used to being wrong like 70% of the time, literally. Really, my win rate is 35%. So wrong 65% of the time. But of the 65% of the times that I'm wrong, I'm either taking super small red or flat trades. And then, I take a bunch of small green trades as well. And then every now and again, you catch a home run, and that makes up for a lot of small little losses. And during a really good period, you can catch really nice trades back to back to back to back. So Royal, the reality is that if you're in a really good stock with a really clean breakout, you shouldn't have to put your stop 0.1% below the low a day, right? The best horses don't return to their starting gate. I expect that when I buy something over prior day high or a 5-minute opening range break, that we start to push immediately, right? So putting your stop lower than low of day is unnecessary because, like, for instance, when I bought ARK, right, there's no coming back to low day. It just broke out and closed near highs. When I brought CrowdStrike at 400, it was just a breakout and no retest to low of day. When I bought Netflix at 1,019, it was just a breakout and no retest of low of day. When you buy Palantir at 100, right, it was just a breakout and no retest of lower day. When I brought Uber at 75 as a 50 SMA undercut and rally, I just bought it and there was no retest of the low day. So that's just what it should be. You shouldn't have to widen out your stops to prevent against liquidity wicks. I think that's like some falsehood that you've been told. If you're timing your entries well with a strong market and you're focused on leading groups, leading stocks that have been showing relative strength during a market downturn, right? You shouldn't be having to place your stop lower because of some quote unquote liquidity wicks. I mean, that's not a thing. Focus on names that are showing relative strength coming out of a correction, and those are your leaders. And then obviously, as you get a little bit extended, you should be personally, instead of quote unquote buying the breakout, you should be looking for pullbacks into ascending moving averages. Yeah, home builders have definitely been acting better. They're not on my radar just yet. Right? I personally think oil and gas stocks are starting to act a little bit better. I would almost rather them here pretty soon versus home builders. But yeah, they're starting to act better, like Pulte, Toll, Green Brick, Lennar, Builder. Yeah, I mean, they're starting to look a little bit better, but they're still in downtrends. Could I share my worst trade ever taken? Yeah. Percentage-wise, CCJ, which hurts looking at it up here, by the way, because I'd be up $2 million as well on this one. Back in the day, in October, I got caught in this gap down here. I bought on the 11th, and I got caught on this gap down going into the 12th because they were raising money for Honeywell, and I lost 250K. And at the time, percentage-wise, It was a big chunk, not a big chunk, but biggest percentage loss I ever took to my portfolio. And then, of course, look what it did. Thesis was right. I was just early. It depends what group the stock is in, right? If the stock I'm watching is breaking out, but the broader market intraday is moving down, are you waiting for the market to turn around, or do you just enter? Okay, so if a stock I'm watching is in the gold sector and the broader market, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are pulling back, do I wait to buy a stock in the gold sector? No. I focus on the gold sector and see if gold's going up, then I buy it. But if it's a NASDAQ stock and it's an S&P 500 stock and it's correlated to the market, then I wait. But if it's not correlated to the market, and let's just say it's an oil and gas stock, well, then I'm focusing on oil and gas. If it's an oil and gas stock and oil and gas is moving down, then I wait. What's my take on Lyft? It's lagging Uber, I can tell you that. Yeah, I mean, it's it's a laggard. I don't like owning laggards. Datadog, I don't like the action after the S&P 500 inclusion news either. Somebody asked me if this was like a high volume closed setup, and I told them no, because this is inclusion, right? This isn't like something fundamentally changed about the company. They didn't become a better company. Their earnings and sales weren't super amazing. This is just a gap up on inclusion, and then, not so great action after that. No, there's not a set percentage gain because some stocks move slower than others, right, Corey? Like some stocks trade like a 10 ADR. So, at like 20%, you might move your stop up to break even. But on like a JP Morgan 6%, you might move your stop up to break even. It's very stock dependent. Yeah, XOM. Yeah, massive. I talked about this in last night's watch list video. If I had to guess, I would assume that XOM sooner rather than later is at a new all-time high. Would just be my guess. I sized down and I sized down. That it took me like a couple months to get that loss back. Size things down. That's the best thing you can do. Yeah, they're a little extended. Like Iron's a bit extended. Very extended. But it could keep going. Cores don't love the action after CoreWeave said they were going to buy them. Hut I do like, but we'll see. Cypher is taking on massive volume. BT, they're going to do the whole Ethereum thing, taking on big volume. Yeah, a little choppy here. Don't see anything super awesome here just yet. Yeah, I think everybody's watching Bitcoin. I think everybody's watching Bitcoin, and they should be. It's got a nice setup. It looks damn close to breaking out. So hopefully, it actually breaks out. If it trades squatch, how much time do I give it? I mean, as long as it doesn't hit the low of day, I give it till the end of the day. What are my max stops? Again, it's very setup dependent, it's trade dependent, it's average daily range dependent, it's my size dependent. There's there is no one size fits all for that answer. No, I'm not too cautious about taking trades. I mean, it looks like Bitcoin's trying to go higher. So, we'll see. And it looks like silver's trying to go lower. So, we'll also see. I don't think NXT is tradable just yet. I think Solars need to tighten up a bit. A-Lab is lagging. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look. It's got to get going over this 62 and change level. Wolf's the only miner that looks viable to you. And it doesn't actually have Druckenmiller anymore in it. He actually sold out of his position. Yeah, I don't focus on diversification. I just focus on being in leading charts. Yeah, Bloom Energy looking a whole lot better. Not bad. $3M, this one moves way too slow. Yeah, 2% per day. Yeah, nice big base, but this thing's way too slow. I'm not sure. We'll see if Copper's able to take out that high yesterday. Felt kind of like a dislocated price with that move. We'll see if that high gets taken out. I'm not sure. If it gets taken out, it's very bullish for the sector. If it doesn't, I probably wouldn't touch FCX. And I have no opinion on what Copper's going to do. Yeah, I try to actually not even focus on the news, to be honest with you. News to me doesn't matter. Price action, group strength, how groups are acting and how they're setting up is the only really thing that I care about at all. And if they're following through, I do not care about news whatsoever. I have it. I like to listen to it. I like to know what's going on, but it doesn't affect my trading decisions. ACLS lagging quite a bit. I mean, it just got over the 200 simple moving average. So not buyable yet. I have no clue if Oklo will bounce. Oklo will bounce if if your uranium names are going, like your GEV, your CEG, your VST. MU looks good. It's a little extended from the 50, but it looks good. What do I think of Starbucks? I don't like it. I usually make my coffee at home. I don't know. Let it establish itself above the 200. It's above the 200 now, but just let it, digest above the 200. I mean, this thing moves so damn slow. I don't even know why you'd want to own this thing. It's gone nowhere for a few years now. Right? Like, this thing looks like shit. I like trimming into strength. I don't know if you have to sell it all unless something goes parabolic. Yeah, AMD looks all right. AMD looks pretty good. It just, needs a little bit more digestion, I think, but doesn't look too bad. RYTM, I traded this thing at like $5. Oh my goodness, 70 something dollars. Holy shit. What a move for this name. Dude, I traded Rhythm way down here. Do you believe this? Unbelievable. And the second time I traded Rhythm was right in here. I'm in CCL and I'm in ARC. My thoughts on Roma, the soccer team? Just kidding. No. Hell no. Jesus Christ, no. Aldrich, hell no. This thing trades less than $1 million a day, dude. You don't want to be in positions that one person like myself can just buy up the entire average daily, volume. Yeah, I don't buy stocks more than 4 times or really 5 times their average true range from their 50. What does my equity curve look like throughout an average year? Up and to the right, baby. Up and to the right. No, as a swing trader, you're almost always in a small little downtrend. You'll have like these little oscillations where the more trades you take, the more paper cuts you take because you're really trying to, hold things for a longer period of time. And, the market's not always in breakout mode. Sometimes it's in digestion mode, sideways mode. But, you'll almost always be taking small little losses and then you'll have like a spike up in your equity curve and then like small little lower highs and lower lows. You'd be giving some of those gains back and then you'll have another nice little win. And then, kind of trickle off with the more trades you take and then another nice little win. And, I'd probably say that only 10, 15, 20% of all of your, winning trades, not trades in general, but of your winning trades will be home runs. And then the other 80% will be small little green of your winning trades. So, it could. I'm not going to be adding here. Too extended from the 50 to add. We're almost 20% above the 50 simple moving average, so can't do it. Let me see. Yeah, 7.4 times its average true range from the 50. Can't add. I can't add to this. I sound was a gap fill setup, and I don't know that. And this is not a high volume close setup, guys. High volume close setup should be reserved for good news, not just a random Tuesday up move on big volume. Where was the news for SOUN that would make this thing sustainably go higher for a longer period of time? One, Ethereum is not breaking out just yet. It's still within a range, right? I mean, maybe you can call me Ray Charles, but I'm pretty sure this is still a range, right? And it's not breaking out. And I'm pretty positive that Bitcoin's also still in a range. So these actually have not broken out yet. They're definitely going up, but you're using the word breakout a little loosely. I think 111,000 is the right spot, roughly. I mean, it's doing the right thing from whether it's the smaller time frame, or the larger time frame. It looks good. It looks really good. It's just, we've been dealing with a lot of volatility near pivots, and you have to remember how correlated Bitcoin is to the NASDAQ, right? Bitcoin's very correlated to the NASDAQ, and now look at how far the NASDAQ has come. What you have to ask yourself is if Bitcoin is correlated to the NASDAQ, and there's really no debating it. It's been correlated since Bitcoin became a thing. How much more oomph does the NASDAQ have? And if the NASDAQ begins to pull back a little bit, 3%, 5%, etc., what happens with Bitcoin? Does Bitcoin just keep going, or, does it also begin to pull back? I'm not sure. AOI, yeah, I noticed the strength in this thing a few days ago. It's just, it hasn't been viable for me because there's no setup. SNDK. Oops. Newer IPO. I don't know what SanDisk. Got it. I know who they are. I mean, it's liquid. It moves fast enough. I don't like how quickly this thing sold off, but tightening up the right-hand side, maybe needs a little bit more price discovery. If I do touch Shopify, it will be into ascending moving averages. I'll keep an eye on it today and see if it wants to bounce off of its 20 again. Ideally, we sell off a little bit more and come into the 50. But at this point, this is a bit of a lagging name here. So all right, guys, trade them well today. Got to get ready for stream. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will be back in 23 hours. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys bright and early in the morning tomorrow. Thanks, Racer. Thanks, guys.